and welcome to the Tuesday afternoon live show. Hopefully a most informative live show that you'll all find jolly interesting. Well, that's the plan.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
answer to that, is there?
Hello, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world.
Very nice. Yes, good evening, good afternoon and everything else. So I'm just making sure we're all coming through and firing on all cylinders, which it looks like we are. That's it. Let me tell you what I'm going to do as well. I'm just going to put the chat up on my other screen 1 second, because I can't see.
So,
to be honest, I need to mute it as well, because otherwise it's going to start going ding every time someone posts. Which I think is something like that. Okay, right.
Let's get going, Nate. So
we're in and running. So good afternoon to everybody. Loads of you in chat as well. Hello to Christopher, Dave, David, Greg, Ian, James, Kenny, Leighton, Matt Ball, amazingly.
Who's he?
Mick, Patrick, Paul, Peter, Richard, another Richard. Oh, everyone's piling in now. I can't keep up. It's literally going huge as I'm trying to read
Steve's, lots of Scott, and everybody.
Yes,
Paul,
Tim's in there.
Patrick,
that's it. Toadie's in there. Oh, lots of you.
So,
lots and lots. And hello to everybody in YouTube land as well. We're live across the airwaves of everywhere. So good afternoon to Hobby Time, Ian, another Ian, and we've got what's that? Oh God, that's moving as well. Paul, lots of you in there. So yes, look at that. Look, Christina's watching us from Brisbane Airport in Queensland. Nice.
Oh, lovely. From a hotel in Brisbane. Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Nice. Very nice indeed. That's the way to do it. There's something about hotel airports was quite nice, because you're there and you're normally going somewhere else and you've got there. So you can relax, can't you, and chill.
Yeah.
So I must admit, there's something about hotel airport I quite like, because that's the stressy bit out of the way.
Sorry.
So anyway, good afternoon to everybody.
Trusty assistant has arrived.
Wrapped up. Mine's a kip on the sofa.
Oh, you're lucky. Mine won't be. Look, she's going to eat something she's not supposed to.
Yeah,
Can you just behave? Or she's going to be banished.
Get kicked
Your
out.
mother will be back soon. She can have you.
Yes. Anyway, I've been busy cracking on with, where are we? If we go probably this way, I'll tell you what, we can probably do share screens. It's not that big. But as you can see, how am I going to pick this up? Didn't think this through, did I? None of this is glued together, so if it falls apart, you know why. All right, but there we go. The dozer is dozer together. And again, testimony to the kit. None of this is actually glued, as in sub-assembly. So the entire blade assembly is a loose fit. The cab's still a loose fit. The ripper blade at the back is still a loose fit. All the tracks and all the running gear is all a loose fit as well. So the idea being is, now we are finished off and the build's technically done. There's a couple more little bits just to do onto this one. But then what we're going to actually do is get this into primer. And then obviously we're going to think about the best way of weathering to this week. So it's going to be that sort of, right, okay, there's obviously going to be lots of chipping and wear and tear. Thinking about obviously primer, then we're going to get the base colour in, which will be the base colour for this said chipping and things, and scratches and everything on the main sort of body. The blade will be a different ball game altogether. And then going to be thinking about obviously the colours that we're going to need. And then we're looking at hairspray techniques, maybe Matt's technique as well, that we were showing the other day. We'll go through the motions of that.
If it works.
If it works. It should do, because again, the nice thing about this is this time I'm going really old school, which I haven't done in a long time. I'm using Vallejo Model Air, which is something I haven't used this stuff. Like, God help me, I hope this is better than it used to be. As I'm there, pumping me trigger, trying to get it to work, swear at you, bastard. Off camera, if it's been a bad spray job, it's the bit where there's editing and it's like, it's there half done, then it's like mostly done, and there's not a lot in between. It fought me all the way at that point. But no, I'm quite hopeful this will work well. And to be honest, I'm going to try this with the old 3rd gen acrylic thinners. A couple of drops of that, because that seems to be a bit of a good job on those, and so hopefully it'll just help that flow a little bit better. But being nice and acrylic, it means we do lots of things with chipping and stuff. As you know, I'm a bit of a lacquer user, and I do like my lacquers, so hopefully it'll chip a little bit easier and stuff like that. As for the blade at the front, that's going to be a different ball game, because that's going to be metals and rusty stuff and all the good stuff down in there as well. So yes, that'll be good.
I was going to say, to be honest with you, Phil, I don't think you'll need any thinners with that Model A stuff.
I always used to put some thinners in it. I never sprayed it neat, I must admit, back in the day.
Yeah,
it's gone now.
It dropped it in the bin.
No, close. So, but yeah, I must admit, I always used to add a couple of drops of like X20A into it, just give it a good mix, just to thin it a little bit more. A lot of that, I think it sort of negates the problem of tip dry. But also the
Yeah.
other thing I used to use a lot with it, to be honest, I know we were talking about it earlier, but it's good old fashioned. Let me just grab some, make sure, because I have got a few of the airbrush cleaner. Because the airbrush cleaner works like a little bit of a retarder. And again, this may all be completely useless information, which we do say a lot clearly. But it is that thing where when I used to do it, this formula's now changed. As I said, this got like a floral smell to it now. So it's not quite as it used to be. So we'll have to see how it plays. So what I will do is I will do a little bit of a test with it just to make sure it still works like I remember before obviously we commit to going on this. So Buster will get a coat of something somewhere to make sure.
I definitely just practice that thing with chipping technique with that stuff because it's a very latex based.
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to get the same effect as I did, obviously doing the Gen 3s yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to try it on this anyway. When I get the Gen 3, so I'm going to give this a coat of Red Ox.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you're out of here, mate, because you're really getting on my nerves. Go on. Come on.
She says you're in an uncomfortable seat. That's the trouble.
God, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give this a coat of Red Ox, and I'm going to put the Panzer Grey over the top.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do, give it a bit of wear through and see if that works. But I managed to get it to do it last night, like I say, with airbrush cleaner.
Yeah.
So, watch it won't work on this. It works on the Buster, but when it comes to actual kit,
yeah,
it'll be an epic fail again. But we'll see. I think there's a bit of a window as well, before it actually dries.
Yeah.
I think, pretty much straight after it's painted and it's gone off, I think then you've got to do it. I think if you leave it a few hours, it'll probably set and it'll be a bit kind of hard work to get off. But yeah, we will see what happens with that.
Again, sometimes it is that thing. It's a window into it, and chipping is definitely one of those things. Because I've chipped with lacquers before, and I've done things like real colours with lacquer thinners through it and chipped. But you've only got a window of maybe half an hour, and then once it's properly gone off, that's it. You're not going through it again. And again, same goes with Hitaka. If you spray Hitaka with rapid drying thinners, you can chip it quite quickly. No problem at all. But then give it an hour later, it's like bulletproof. You're wasting your time. You're just scratching down to plastic. It won't physically chip at all. So, yes.
Yeah.
Good job. So Greg really likes Model Air. Again, Model Air, it's one of those things, and I don't belittle Model Air at all because it's what I cut my teeth on. When I moved away from enamels, this would have been back in the late 90s. And Vallejo Model Air was just coming out at that point, and it was like brilliant because they had all the right colours. Instead of it being like mismatches and all the rest of it, and some dodgy colours from other manufacturers, this was good. And literally, it was shake it, spray it. It was simple as that, and it was absolutely fantastic to be able to spray it straight out of the bottle. So yes, like it. Do like it.
I used it long ago with a new formula, and it did seem quite nice, to be honest. So it's like I say, it's whatever you like, isn't it? Really, with paint.
Yes.
There's plenty of options out there to choose from. So
again, I must admit, I have played with obviously the third gen paints, and I tell you what, you notice straight away is how heavy a bottle of theirs is compared to a bottle of theirs. Why is that? It weighs heavier because it's thicker. Do you think?
Thicker paint.
It's the thicker paint, but yeah, I do like the old the third gen acrylics. It's just I haven't got any, and the Vallejo one seems to be the colour for this. So I was sort of on a timeline yesterday getting those last week getting those paints in, and I sort of jumped in feet first, get a load, and we're good. To get it moving and keep this one moving on and all the rest of it. So yeah, that was the plan.
So more paint to add to your collection.
Well, only one bottle. Well, all right. There may have been 5 others I had to buy at the same time, but they might be handy for primers, or if I do a fleet of diggers, it'll be absolutely fine with that one. So, but yes, so he's coming along very, very nicely. Very, very nice. We'll be pushing along with that. So to bring us up to speed for today, we've been playing with this little lump, which is obviously the CL 215. You might remember at the weekend we did these, which I've painted and installed. So these are now in on both sides. Slightly different colour. Not sure why, but hey, by the time it's weathered, it'll be fine. All right, so we've got that one in there. I've done the gear, painted it earlier, and I've got to do the centres, and we can get the actual doors on it. Just to point out the windows. We did the windows live on Saturday. You can see those in there. They dried absolutely, as the name says, crystal clear.
All right then, come out well.
Again, this is one of those things. Often, a lot of people ask me about, using PVA windows. Honestly, if it's that size, they're perfect, because they're absolutely going to be great for this. They're clear enough to get away with. I don't think you have a problem at all with it. So yes, we've gone with that. But again, these little guys, in a moment, we're going to get the painted up the hubs, and we'll get these installed in, and then these somehow fit in here like this, and we'll all be good. So yeah, that's my plan with that one.
So Phil's going to give us a masterclass on weathering yellow.
Absolutely.
You got that really good reference. I'd use that. Like say, crack up in the oils, you'll be well away. Look really full with that.
Just chuck oils all over it. Go for it. It'll be fine.
So
very nice.
And I've been up to, like I say, I've got this in a coat of primer. This is just mahogany aerosol. To be honest, I've been lazy, but I want to get some red ox on that. There's the point, and obviously there's the gun.
Yeah.
So that's coming out all okay. And I repainted this.
Hold up. There we go. Yeah.
So this is the old Airfix B26.
Indeedy.
And I did try some decals that failed me dismally. So I ripped them off and obviously left all the remnants on. So I've rubbed it down and gave it a recoat. And I used some Gen 3, this one, because I haven't got any proper US Air Force olive drab.
Yeah.
I think this is out of one of their modulation sets for the US Armour. Actually, I quite like the colour. I think it's really quite a nice olive drab.
Yes.
So I'm just going to get some decals on it. Whether I get that done today, I doubt it, because I ain't really set myself up. But give it a gloss coat, get some decals on it, probably get a coat of gauzy, and then we can come back and start weathering it. So see if we can get this one out off the bench and out the way. Yes. And it's still a Tesla. So
it's all right. The Bombardier is going to be a really big bloke.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. Like I said, it's going to be pinning or something. The other thing I've got nearly finished is my half track at last. Well, guess what I've done? Still lost me. Can you see it? The end of my gun lock.
Oh look, you've lost your muzzle brake.
My muzzle's gone. I have no idea where it is.
Oh.
It's not rattling or anything, so I'm going to have to salvage one from somewhere else to finish this off. But yeah, it'll like me a bit of a practice doing winter camo. So I think it's quite all right, actually. I quite enjoyed doing this and weathering it with oils and stuff. So yeah, might put that on a little scene, to be honest.
Yes.
Like a little base on it. I was measuring some foam up or some XPS earlier on just to see how big a base I want for it.
Yeah.
And I'll pick some figures or whatever. So yeah, come out all right for the old artillery kit, that.
Very nice.
So I think while you're doing your little bit,
yes,
I'm just going to do a bit of cleanup of some figures and stuff.
Right.
Because I have got this, not this set, obviously, but this set of figures was my original set of Dragon figures when they first thing. Because there you go, look at the number, look.
Oh, look, yeah, number 2.
So, God knows, when was this? Early 90s?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know either.
Well above my pay grade.
Late 80s. But I think this is one of the first, and I made obviously not knowing what I was doing or I was painting, and made a complete pig's ear of it. Absolute pig's ear. So I won't mind tackling them again just to see what I can do with them, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
I might do a couple of, I don't think I'll do the whole set, but I'll pick a couple of figures. Probably got to have the guy pointing, obviously.
Of course, yeah. You need someone pointing.
Grease lightning. But I'll probably pick probably that one there. I quite like that pose there. And it might be that one. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll put them together and we'll have a look and see what they come out like. But it should be a fun challenge with the camo anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
And I've got the camo sets here, actually. Where are they? Let me have a look. Autumn, winter, splinter. There we go. That was a good guess, wasn't it? There we go.
Very good.
So,
nice.
Some nice oranges and browns and greens in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'll be cleaning them up and watch chat.
Cool. Just a couple of questions as we get going. Matt, do we sell books on busts? I think he means.
Pardon?
Figure painting, I'm assuming.
Figure painting bust. To be honest with you, if you want books on bust, we don't sell them, but I can highly recommend if I don't run over my dog. Let me just pick one. Hold on. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. If I'd have seen that question earlier. There you go. That'll do. Mr. Black Publications.
Right.
Are fantastic books for all things figures. So they have busts in them and full figures, and there you go. Look. And if you get the right ones, they do tell you how to paint them as well. That one's a bit more of a showcase one, but there is the technique ones as well. I do research.
Yeah.
There's a one being painted. But yeah, I've got a few of them. They do all different sort of ages, I suppose.
Yes.
But depending on what bust you're doing. But yeah, the Mr. Black Publications. But like I say, just have a look through which ones you want really. I'll try and dig them out actually. Which ones has a step by step for painting busts? I think that might be easier, so you can see. Yeah. And the probably other one is the FAQ figure book, which I've got here, and I'll grab that as well for you. Which is a proper manual of painting. There you go. You can see how thick that is. Yeah. So that just goes through everything. It's not cheap, but if you're going to get kind of serious about wanting to paint figures, it covers everything.
Yes.
From from the usual flesh tones and there you go. Look what I mean. You know what I mean by cold, warm, and yellow.
Yes.
To break it down.
Jaundice.
Jaundice, yeah. Well, it's like from what the original portrait painters and stuff.
Yeah.
And how they worked it. Same sort of scenario, but you're in 3D, aren't you? Yeah, this is just a brilliant book, to be honest. Like I say, it's prepping them to going through to painting and all different fabrics and stuff. Textures and tartan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, I can't recommend this book enough if you really want to get into figure painting. It's just got everything in it. So
cool. And that ties in beautifully with the next question is, hi guys, a boss of Flory models, what is the nice book next to you? That is this one. So this is the frequently asked books. Obviously we've got a thing going on the site at the moment for this.
Well, we've got the order first lot. Well, this is the second batch, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got the second batch that's gone in today with AK. So hopefully within a week or so, they'll be in for the people who put the name down. And then if you want the FAQ books and you're a member, but we are going to get these and actually stock them as well in the shop in the book section. We'll get a selection of the FAQ because they just cover everything.
Yeah. So basically the frequently asked questions book, literally, as you say, it's that big. It's literally a Bible of everything. So you've got here about, obviously, there you go, straight off the bat, of manipulating figures, to make them sort of, posable and all the rest of it, right the way through to sort of, as you can see, detailed stuff on gear, about weathering gear, doors, you name it. We've got weapons, fuel tanks, down to pylons, obviously markings. Yeah, literally, this just goes on and on and on, as you say. So pretty much anything you could ever need or want to look at, you can see got a gallery in the back there, all the nice ones in here. So yes, it is a little bit of an advert sometimes, but not as bad as other manufacturers, shall we say. So they do use other things in here, which is quite nice. Although they don't use my sanders or washes, but it's fine.
Part of everything.
Well, this is it. So, but anyway, this is the 5th edition. I take it they're still on the 5th edition.
Do you know what? I don't know because I don't know.
I know it changes a lot. I've had this one a few years.
What's mine? I think mine's probably a 1st edition. I don't know. Wait, turn yours back over.
It's got a thing on the front here.
Oh no, look, I ain't got anything. So mine must be an original. Wonder if you've got anything else in it that I ain't got.
No, I don't know then. That's a weird one. I must admit, the nice people at AK sent me this some time ago when we were working together on something. And, but yeah.
They are good books, actually.
They are. They really are good.
The diorama one's brilliant. And that just covers everything. like I said, the aircraft one, the figure one, and even the original armour ones as well.
Yes.
I'll tell you one that really gets overlooked. God, this is proper advertisement, isn't it? There's two. There's the car one or the vehicle one.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, there's some proper gems in here. Yeah, because obviously AK sell weathering products.
Yes.
So, if you're looking like the old Citroen, we've seen that in the flesh.
Yeah.
And then, it just covers, vending machines and little dioramas and little bases and stuff. But, some of the stuff in the back in the gallery is really good. Like we're on about motorbikes.
Yeah.
There's some clean stuff and then some bit more worn stuff.
Yeah.
So, it covers up everything from shiny finishes to, like say, derelicts and everything in between, really. So, really good book. Yeah. So they're worth having on your shelf in your library.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah. As they say, if Phil throws the book at you, look out. It is. It's a big lump. It's to be honest, they're not cheap, but it does have everything you could ever want in there. It is very, very nice stuff for that.
Yeah, so, I think so. It's one of them where if you've got the FAQ books, you don't really need any others because it does cover all the bases, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. So you say if you're new to modelling and stuff like that, it's a really, really good way of getting you up to speed. Pushing, understanding stuff in a simple photo type step way of doing it. Yeah. So, but yeah, it covers pretty much everything, every single subject. And of course, it's one of those things you're seeing about how one way of being described using it. And there's different ways to literally skin the proverbial cat with modelling, So there's different ways you can do it. But it's a good basics getting it down. And say the frequently asked question books, to say like the figure painting one is brilliant. And then obviously with the vehicles and stuff, but all the ones in their series do tend to be very, very good quality.
The thing is, like Neil's put, it's an AK product. Of course, it is. They're going to push their own gear, aren't they? They're not going to advertise ammo, are they?
No, but it's not quite like I have to say, being totally honest here, I think the AK stuff, at least they do show other products. Whereas, let's face it, and not being funny, in the ammo books, if it is not ammo, it's not in it.
No,
so which is obviously they're promoting their stuff, but in here, a lot of the tools that they use, they talk about pretty much everything. Yeah. As you say, obviously AK do their own setting solutions and stuff, and obviously there's a lot of paint in here it talks about, but it has got everybody else's listed as well. And certainly every other tools and stuff like that, although clearly not the correct standards. But when they did it,
the thing is, the way I look at them is, it's a techniques book. It's not what they're using.
Yeah,
it's how they're using it.
Yes,
and that's the way I look at it. You've got to look at the kind of the bigger picture of it, haven't you? Really?
Yes,
but. Yeah, I think they're useful anyway. I think they're good. Yes, anyway.
Very, very nice indeed. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint up my wheels, which I can show if I put an SD card in my camera, because I haven't got one in that one yet. I've got the power of grey skull. Oh, we can fire up this one, because I should have thought about this one earlier, but I didn't. Hopefully that will spring to life. Oh, I can do the props as well, because it's all sort of silvery and stuff. So we can do a quick job about doing centres. So I will pick my favourite paint to use, which, oh God, could be anything for this. I'm thinking stainless probably. No, titanium, super iron, that's a good colour. So literally, that's just for me gear, for me wheels and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll shove this over to this camera. Hopefully camera 4 is working, which it is. So, welcome to my filthy spray booth. Should make it a little bit. So what we do, the props on this thing as well, they are aluminium.
Oh, so,
apparently they're all in aluminium.
All right. How's your booth filter?
How's me what?
Your booth filter.
My booth filter, not too bad.
Is it? Is it nice?
I probably am up for a change at some point. Let's just put it like that.
All right, okay.
I haven't cleaned out my airbrush from earlier, so shame on me. Just get rid of this yellow. Talk about yourselves a minute. I forgot to clean the airbrush. I'll just change out the airbrush. I'll do the usual.
I was going to say use a different airbrush. You've got enough.
I will. Let me just blow this out. Get rid of that. And I'll switch out airbrushes.
Yeah, he's a bit rough-handed, isn't he, David?
You know me.
Heavy-handed.
Which mic am I on? I don't know which mic I'm on. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Right. Let me just try me. Actually, I'll tell you what.
Richard's having his first use of Tamiya lacquers. Make sure you've got a respirator on, your window open, or your extractor on. They're a bit stinky.
Bit smelly.
But they're good. They're very good.
Yes.
Right, let's while you're just sorting yourself out, let's pick a dude to try and assemble and clean up.
Going in with me Fender Benga 580 or 8 whatever it is. 180K.
Is this a new one? They bought a new airbrush.
No. This is just my old-fashioned Fender Bengi thing. We cheap 25 quid airbrush, which is amazing and mega.
Amazon special.
My Amazon special airbrush. Best 25 quid I've ever spent.
Right. I think I'm going to have to let the dog out in a minute because some people are back to her house.
Right, okay.
And she's going to go crackers, I reckon. There you go.
Lola does the same.
Here in a minute.
Right, okay, so I don't know how much we've got in here. This stuff is the gift that keeps giving anyway. So just
okay.
Simple quick mix.
Calm myself.
So this is Super Metallics 203, which I'm going to have to get some more because we're getting a bit low on this. I really like this colour as well because it's not too in your face, it's not too shiny, and it just works really, really well for anything sort of metally, really. And although it's not a true metallizer paint, it's probably the closest you're going to get without it being a proper metallizer.
Right. Do you just hold for me while I just get the dog?
Yeah, go on, got it.
A bit of peace.
Right, so just grab a bit of this. Right, bear with me, anyone, because I can't see the chat at the moment, so I'll just do this.
I'm back, I'm fine. We're all good. It's all right.
So what we do is we do the usual. We use just one of these cheap school circular things. What do you call it? I don't know what the technical name is for one of these.
Yes, James, the God Hand. Sorry, so you're just asking me, are they God Hand snips? Yes, they are.
Yes.
My broken ones.
That's because he's still after anybody who might be passing Japan. Who can say
yeah. Anybody going to Japan? Do you know what? I'm really thinking of biting the bullet and just ordering a new pair. I really am. I'm not bothered. They are that good. I don't mind.
Yes.
So.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of tack on the back of the wheel. This is purely because it won't stay still because it's got it'll rock and you end up with a bleed mark around the outside. So this is now stuck down to your little mat. I'll zoom in a bit. Right, you're over it.
I'll show you something when you've done that I were putting together last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we pop this over the top, right in the middle, or as best as you can see it. I'm trying to do this and show you guys. Let me just get my head in the way. So right over the top, straight down, 90 degrees, spray, done. Centre of the wheels. None of this masking up rubbish or anything else like that. Straightforward, in you go. So, and we go. But again, if you put down a bit of tack, it stops it rocking, because if it rocks, it can end up, you know, decentering and all things like that. So do this a little bit in the lap of the gods, but there we go.
Let's have a look at John.
So you can, if you want to do, pop down with a little bit of an oil wash right the way around it, although we will do in there, but it's done the hub beautifully with no problem at all. And then what we'll do is we will, at the same time, we'll just spray the props as well, and then we'll hand paint the back of the wheels, because these apparently are our finest aluminum.
Very nice. So what aluminum is it again?
What, the colour I'm using?
Yeah. I'm
just using the old SM203.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So what we're going to do is, I'll tell you what, I'll hold it by the front, because I'm going to spray the front spinners slightly different. We'll do them in a chrome or something. So again, not going to worry about priming. Rubbish. It's only a prop. I must admit, I don't think they're the best scale effect for these props because they're very thick.
Yeah. They're oversized, are they?
Well, I don't know. They just seem incredibly thick. I don't know if they are on the real thing, but put it this way, you need to do the edges as well. But nice and light, just building it up slowly. Hopefully you'll see they've got a lovely shine to these, and it just gives a really nice sort of, I wouldn't say polished aluminium effect, but a nice shiny aluminium without being too strong, because some of them really are strong.
Exactly, aluminium.
Yes. So first coat, little dusty coat, and second coat, you can go in a bit more heavy. Just give it something to grip to. Do the edges. Nice. So you've got a nice good cover. As I say, it's quite a complex curve on those things. Because they're a little bit thicker, you need to make sure you go in everywhere, but so if you see it, actually doesn't look too bad on these. Quite a nice look to them. So obviously you've got to do the tips, and we'll do the fronts of those as well. So we'll do those with yellow on the actual tips, but again, because it's sort of raised detail on this, there's actually a line to follow as well. So it makes it nice and straightforward on there.
The yellow will cover over that silver all right anyway. So
yeah,
be fine. Normally you paint them first, don't you, yellow, and then
I must admit, I always do it the other way. I always do yellow afterwards.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've been lazy with the props on this B26.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally going to paint yellow on them.
Yeah.
Because it's a small, I'm just going to get a brush.
That's it. To be honest, I like to dip them. If it's just the tips like that, like if it's just a pointy tip, I'll dip it. These are like blades, so you can't really dip them. But yeah, that would be my easiest way.
You're probably not going to get as intense a yellow as you would if you do it, over the white base coat. The proper way of doing it.
Yeah.
But in 70 seconds, you'll get away with it. I think if I was doing some at 30 seconds and they were bigger, I would do it properly, like yellow first, and then mask them off and then paint it black or grey or whatever you're going to do it. But for this, it's I can't be bothered, if I'm perfectly honest. I've been lazy. No. Just paint it in after by hand. Job done.
And also the thing is, prop tips, they're spinning round so quick, they do wear.
Yes.
I'm not worried about the inside of these because you're not going to see it because these are going to go down. So literally we're just doing it to get that. Just say it's quite a nice shiny look to it. And being a lacquer, it dries quite quick, which is nice as well.
Yeah. There you go. They're on about God and Snipped.
Yes.
In the YouTube chat, and are they worth the price? Damn.
Depends on your type of modelling, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think he's just he broke what he's got for form. Broke building his Mobius Bride of Frankenstein. I think it depends on the styrene as well. Yeah. There's a lot of variables. They are meant for Gunpla, aren't they? I think that's what they're designed for, is it? And
yes,
that sort of genre.
It's designed literally for the last little bit you cut off, if you like. It's not designed for like big chunky stuff. And I think the thing everyone falls flat on is that bit where you cut a clear sprue with it. Until you're into that boat, clear sprue you think is just like normal styrene.
Yeah.
But actually it's a lot harder. So when you cut it, if you use a very fine pair of snips, you'll break your blades. It's amazing how strong that stuff is.
Yeah, that's what it shatters, doesn't it? It's
literally just shears it off.
Yeah, that's what happened with the tips of mine. I just shattered it, cutting the clear sprue. It's just, I've gutted, to be honest, when I'm seeing the chunk out of it. I mean, they still work, but they're not.
But they're really nice. But again, if you're hacking through, I don't know, like normal sprue, for instance, like this, it's not really designed for it. It's not designed to go through something that big. It will do it, but it's not designed to do it. Whereas obviously if you got a pair of like normal snips, you don't care. You're just going to hack through. It's a nice clean cut, no problem at all with it. It will be a cleaner cut, but you're really risking it. What it's designed to do is cut through really very, very small parts, like just, tiny little bits. And that's where these come into their own. Because they are so small, we can cut these off. We give them a whirl, even though I have lost my tips off of these. If you cut these off, I'll try and do it half decent. If you look at that, there is no sprue tab. I know it's a bit different. Let me go full screen a sec.
Yeah, you carry on.
So, but you can probably see there is very little tab on that at all. It leaves nothing basically behind. And that's the difference. If I do that one and then we cut them off with these, but it does come at a price because you are paying a lot more money because these are like 25 quid, master tool ones, comfy ones. And again, it's not that bad. Like these, the reason I like these ones, these are because we sell two versions of these, don't we? The hobby tool, master tool ones. There's like a normal one and there's a finer one, the more expensive one. This is the more expensive one. And I say it's pretty much on a par with the Meng stroke Display .2s.
Which are them?
Which are, hold on. Yeah.
Which are these ones here?
Yes.
The thing is like, because I think they're on about the Tamiya ones. But the Tamiya ones have got a double blade. These are single blade. You get a lot. You don't just ping off into the oblivion.
Yes.
And I'm really surprised Tamiya's never done a single blade set of snips because actually they're. How you toe red? That hurt. Ow! I don't know if my time.
Yes.
I mean they're pretty much similar, but obviously they've got a double cutting edge, double blade.
Yeah.
This would be epic if they did a single blade one.
The thing is, if I just grab the camera a minute.
I mean, these work, don't get me wrong, they're really good snips. Just
the big thing is, if you look how thin these are, they are wafer thin. And you might notice the one at the bottom is just a block. It's thicker on the bottom because the top one is one blade. And what that means is when you come in with your styrene and you cut it like this, when you cut it, you come across, you see how it stays there? It doesn't ping off because it's literally made one slice going across. And as you say, I'll do it with the Goddam ones because the Goddams will probably do a nicer job because, again, this is what you're paying for. Grab it. But there we go. If you look at the bottom, you can see how nice that is. There's literally a white mark in the middle where it cut it, where this one's got a lot more white showing. And that's because the blade is a lot thinner. It is literally gliding through that sprue. But as I say, you do pay a price. But really, do you care about what it's doing there? It's more a case of what it's doing on these. And I think, bang for buck, they are very good, because this one's got hardly any sprue tab, but you've still got a tiny bit. If you were dealing in, kits that have got very, very tight margins, you're still going to need to sand that off. Yeah. It's just that a lot of the Gunpla kits, you could get away with just cutting these off and you don't have to sand them because it is so close and the tolerances are there with those kits that you could actually do it. As you know, a lot of those kits literally just push fit. They will hold together without needing any glue. So those cutters are fantastic. And that's why I think they're used so much in that world, is because you don't have to go around cleaning up. It is just as close. And most of the sprue tabs on Gunpla kits, they're so well engineered, they're not a visible joint. It's not like you've got two parts coming together, and that's the biggest difference with it. I think it's just literally one of those things where, you pay your money, you take your choices, but single blade nippers are just great because when you are removing small bits from sprues, again, because there's no ping effect, you're not going off finding parts because it just sits on top of your cutter because literally it's held it, sliced it off, and that is it. Again, if you've got the two coming together, it causes pressure on that final bit. And obviously the part is being pulled up because you've got a V shape as it's going in. So it's going to fly. And that's the biggest difference to it. But I must admit, got into those ones through Display. Kareen many years ago gave us a set of the Mark 1s, the Display Mark 1s single blade nippers. And that was like light bulb. It was like, that's epic stuff. So, and now they do the 2s. But again, everyone's sort of catching up with them as well now because there's lots of companies now do single edge blades as well. So, yes.
I mean, I think Nathan got us the original Goddams when he went to Japan. How long ago, weren't it? A long time ago.
Yeah.
and he managed to bring some back, and then somebody got us some as well, didn't they?
Yeah, we had a very special delivery back to us as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
You know who you are.
yeah, exactly.
And brought back 5 pairs.
Yeah,
So, but again, yeah, like Slow is saying on there, they're 60 quid plus. And don't forget, there is 2 types of God Hands ones as well, because I often get people ask when we've discussed this before, saying, "Oh, I've seen them on Amazon for like 30 quid." There's a kids version. And they're not quite, it's, as you say, they're not quite the same. They're normal single blade nippers, but it's the children's ones. These ones they've got a different name. Yeah, SPN 120s. The other ones I think are SPN 60s, if I remember rightly, or something. Probably wrong there, but it's something like that. But again, there is a big price difference between the two, and that's the reason. One of them are more designed between younger modelers using them than obviously it is the adult ones.
I think the thing is with a God Hand is when to use them, isn't it?
Yes. You use them on those small little bits, when you sprue, when you're dealing with like tiny little bits on your sprue, that's where they come in, especially if it is tiny little bits like this little guy down in here, for instance, this little thing in here. That's a perfect example when you'd use it, because trying to do sprue cleanup on that afterwards would be horrible without breaking it. So if I can get in there really close and just cut it off cleanly without the need to do any cleanup afterwards, then that's when you would use them. They're great for tiny little bits and stuff like that. But you wouldn't want to be going around doing the bigger stuff. And also things like, I've got to take these off because I've still got to fit them actually. You've got these ones in here. So again, it's on a round surface. So you're still going to end up with a flat spot anyway, because obviously you're cutting onto a round. But hopefully you can see they are a very, very nice cut. There's hardly anything on there at all. But obviously on here, you're still going to have a bit of a flat spot because obviously it's where it's injected into it. So you need to round that off and sand it anyway. But pick your fights when you're using them though, because otherwise, as you say, if you use it on something too big, they will literally snap. And everybody, I think all of us now in the team at least, have broken a pair now, haven't we?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot because they're all still usable, but it's just the
tips normally
it's just
go.
The tip. It's just that tip there. It's just
back of it.
Gone.
We're over here. Keep going. To your left.
Sorry.
Go left. Up. That's it. You're in.
I mean, sorry. Yeah, I've just nicked the end off it. So
yeah, and I'm exactly the same with these.
Yeah, I have to say, and I definitely know when I did mine, but there you go. It's one of them.
But yeah, they are totally still serviceable and usable because the rest of the blade. But I have got, not here, but I did have one of the display ones. And again, that was me. I was cutting a clear sprue with it and it actually sheared off one entire side. The blade side just snapped off, but it actually went in like in a U shape. It took it clean out. So the back of it was there, but the blade just sheared it off and it's micro thin. And again, that was my error totally because I was trying to cut something that's way, way too thick. And obviously, as we know, hardened clear sprue is a lot more, not worth it.
It is.
Very nice. How's your scraping going?
It's all right. I'm kind of recarving.
Right.
That's one of the... Obviously, you get your mould seam lines with styrene figures anyway, so they need cleaning up, and you normally get them down the middle of the leg and the boots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, like the folds and everything, so think of it as like rescribing an aircraft kit. It's the same principle.
Yes.
So what you're doing is making all your undercuts deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, spending the time, you can, I wouldn't say get nigh on resin quality, but you can get pretty close if you take the time to do it. And it does enhance the painting as well. It does look better because you can add proper shadows and highlights and stuff, and it don't just all be a bit soft.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the age of these molds, God, this is an old box anyway, but it must be knocking on. So obviously technology's moved on. The figures have got better anyway. Styrene figures, they've got really good because I think a lot of them now are sort of 3D scanned for heads.
Yeah.
And they're really getting up there with sort of resin. But these are a lot older molds. But we'll see what they come up with. But yeah, it just adds a bit of detail, I suppose. So where there's straps as well. Just go in there and just
sharpening it all
get
up.
A sharp blade. You need a new. I've got a nice little, this sort of blade here, small one that's controllable.
Yeah.
And just butt up to it, and then just scrape out some of the styrene, just to make it a bit deeper so that protrudes more. And same with the hood, you know, you can go under there and do that, and pockets and all bits like that, and especially on the hands as well. I'm going to see if we can because that's always a weak part with against iron figures is hands.
Yes.
But you can do a bit to sort of, because they just don't grip. It's the thumb. The thumbs are always very rigid. But if you make a few slight cuts and use the hand, I mean, I got this trick off a Japanese model show years ago, and just make some really tiny slits in there, use a bit of extra thin, and then you can actually bend the fingers around something so it grips. So I think he's just holding his I was going to say he's just holding his helmet, but that don't sound right at all, does it? But he is technically, he's got his helmet underneath his hand. Yeah, it don't sound better either, does it? So, no. So that was not so bad because of how it's rested, but it's when they're holding the weapons and stuff.
Yes.
It's getting the hands to look kind of natural with them.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Nice. So that's the dragon kit you're working on, isn't it?
It's the dragon kit from God knows when. Yeah, that's it.
Sorry. Oh, zoom out. You're in there.
I know. I can see I'm watching in my little screen. There you go. It's that set. I don't even know if it's still available. The key game re-released, but yeah, it's the old Arden set. Like I say, it's got to be one of their first releases, I think, with a number on it.
Yes.
Yeah. £5, look. That's what they used to be, $4.99. These I can remember. Yeah. I think now they're $14.99 for a set of 4 figures.
God knows.
I think it went up to $9.99, and now we're about up to $14.99. So yeah, because I know that figure there, you know, the pointy man. They upscaled that to the 1/16 figure.
All right.
Yeah, I quite like the 1/16. It's surprised they've not brought them back out. I think these were the original, like, dragon. When they first came out, was kind of the original sort of, apart from the resin, which were like Verlinden and stuff, I think at the time.
Yeah.
Was a big upgrade on the old Tamiya and Italeri figures. So,
nice.
I will get you doing figures one day.
I've tried.
What are you laughing at me like for?
Me? Because as I say, know your limits, as they say.
Oh no, never know your limits. Push yourself to the limit. That's what you need to do.
Let's face it, my figures, they look a bit like either something from The Walking Dead or, something worse. That's the thing. Right, so I'm just taking a bit of height out of this wheel hub. And I know it's not going to be scale or anything else, but this kit, the trouble that it's got is that the way that it's not designed to be gear up, ever. So there's nothing in place to help it become gear up. So I'm just taking a little bit of height out of there. So when we come under here with this door, that this will sit in and be a bit more flush, because at the moment it's just sticking right out, and I'm actually quite happy with that. If I change camera, come in a bit closer, hopefully you can see if it doesn't fall off. There we go. It's going to go in there, something like that. But when you look at it from the front, obviously it was showing it hanging right out here, and that's not what we want. So we're taking a bit of height out of the hub just so we can push that in just a little bit more, which actually I think we're pretty much getting there now, where we want to be with it. So I think we just take a little bit more off the back of this, and then we'll be getting him in place, I think. But it's one of those ones, when you're dealing with a kit that's never been designed to be gear up, you're sort of having to make it up as you go along.
Apparently they've done another one of these figures, which one? The left-hand corner.
Oh, right.
Has also been in. Is that the one I on about, that one with the pointy figure? I don't know if they've done any of the others, I can't remember. Might have done anyway.
Let's get in here.
Get in there.
Get in there.
Tell you what, I forget how good contact to cement is.
Yeah. I must admit, I use it all the
really
time.
Good. It's really good glue, and especially for some reason, my original one, which I've still got in my drawer next to me, I cut the end off.
Right.
It caused myself a right lot of hassle because it always clogs up. So,
I must admit, because we were out of stock, weren't we, at PM for a while, I had to go to Traeger and buy these. Because I didn't have it. But say for big joints, if it's anything bigger, like as you say, there's nothing wrong with obviously extra thins, but they dry too quick. So if you've got a big job stick together and you need a little bit of, a bit of filler action with it as well, shall we say, then I think good old Contactia glue is mega for it. I haven't found another glue like that that's as good, if I'm honest. Contactia works great. It's a nice weld action, does its bit. Right. We like a bit of Contactia action.
Yeah, no, it does do the job.
Right, okay, I think we're going to cool that and we're going to stick this in place. Because I think what we do, we attack it with a little bit of super glue. So we often talk about it. So what I'm going to use is just a little bit of the old magic. So we're going to do this, and all we're going to do is just a little bit of this, and we're just going to put a little bit on the back here, and we're going to use it to tack this in place, and then I'll properly glue it afterwards. There, we've got the right one on the right side, and all the rest of it.
Dennis has put Swan Morton in the UK should conduct a design exercise for surgical grade stainless steel nippers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Thing is, as you say, I think somebody mentioned in YouTube chat that surgical steel is so expensive because it's a lot finer and all the rest of it, and that's probably why Godhan's is the price it is.
Yeah,
because obviously it's the quality of the material they're using, which is probably very true.
it's ordered. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm just answering Richard. It's they're ordered. We're just waiting them to come in. I think it's May. I think it should be in the next week or so. Then Motor Spitfires should be here. So, yeah, we're just waiting for a delivery on them.
Wheels are in.
Are the wheels in?
Yeah, but I've got a hub that's sticking out a little bit on one side, but I've glued it now, so it's going to have to stay for a minute, and then I'll tackle that when it's dry properly. So, yes. There we go.
Alistair's asked, how did you paint your wheel hubs on the CL44? You've just missed it. Rewind.
Rewind. I did it at the beginning. Rewind. Did it at the beginning of the show. I just used a quick mask job and did it. Use the old
template. Circle template.
Circle template. What are these? Circle template. And we used just straight over the top, straight down onto it. Paint your tyre black and then put it right over the top of it. And that way you end up with it all painted and done. So, yes. Cool.
How is that nice. Across the pond? I don't know. What is it? Is that 205?
It's a CL215.
215. There you go.
The 415 is the turboprop version, I think, isn't it? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the one with all the extra wingy bits.
Phil's got the analog version.
Yes. Yeah. This is the old school version. Definitely. Right. Okay. So with that on, I think he says, without thinking too heavily, clearly. Right. Weathering.
Somebody's asking about our Jurassic Park diorama.
Yes.
With the thing, I actually don't know when we do it, to be honest. It is, like I say, it is ordered. I'm just going to wait for our supplier to get them in.
Yeah, once it comes in, I'll do a review of it and then, watch this space.
You're going to have to build it.
That. I do. I do quite fancy that. I said to her, I'll do it for Tam. She wants me to build it, I'll build it.
Exactly.
Who am I to deny her?
Yeah, you're not that brave.
Yeah, I'm not that brave.
You're stupid.
So, but yes. Right, okay. So, looking at pictures of them, and as I say, they just look like they fade back, the water bombers, but they are kept quite clean.
Not on that picture you showed me.
Yeah, but that one looks like it's a post-apocalyptic version.
Yeah, but it looks cool though, doesn't it?
It does. It does look pretty cool like that, I must admit. But what I'm thinking is, obviously, we've got to do some exhaust stuff coming out of the back of this, because obviously being good on radials, they'll leak and, horrible stuff everywhere.
I'll try and keep this in camera.
Mm-hmm.
If you get let's say, a brand new blade with a good tip on it.
Yes.
And you just think carve in between the fingers.
Yes.
Take a bit of the excess styrene out where you can get a nice hand.
Mm-hmm.
And also as well, if you use the blade again where the knuckles are, you can kind of separate the fingers, or even a razor saw will do it if the hands are a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And just run it up there carefully, not to slice.
I was going to say, this looks like we're just about to get the accident book ready.
Yeah, normally it will do. It's bound to be. I'm on camera. But yeah, it just sharpens up the detail on the fingers. Not, you probably don't show a lot on camera, but
yes,
it does make a bit of a difference with styrene hands. It just adds that like separation with your knuckles and stuff. And I'm super zoomed in there, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just look at your own hand as well. You can use that as an anatomy lesson. That's the word, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, and how you grip and how your thumb moves and all that. So it's because probably for the price, well, not the price of these, but even the price of these now, you're going to get 4 figures for probably one resin figure, a decent one. And don't get me wrong, resin figures are quality, but not everybody, even if you're just starting out doing figures, even if you want to add one to a tank or whatever, it's going to be, want to spend that much on a resin figure.
Yeah.
To begin with, until you've kind of got the basics. So a little bit of prep work will yield results later on.
Yeah.
It's one of them scenarios. So yeah, I do apologise if I'm not in it. It's a bit zoomed in and it's a bit tiny. Tiny.
Very nice, coming together.
Yeah.
Guys, do you need to use AK thinners with the 3rd gen AFV and real colours paints, or can I use Mr. Hobby self-leveling thinners?
Right, with the real colour, you can use self-leveling thinner.
Yeah.
But I won't recommend it with Gen 3s.
You can. I've done it.
Yeah.
Didn't I? Because I must admit, I typical with me, I was like, oh, this will be fine. What can go wrong? But I actually used it by mistake. And the reason this happened was I was cleaning out the airbrush and I put a bit in and it thickens it up a bit. And then it actually went really, really well. So although it's not recommended, give it a whirl, see how you get on. Because I actually quite liked it. I've still got my bust a bit over there that I sprayed the entire camo pattern on it with it. So, but yes, you can obviously test it a little bit first, probably in a mixing jar. If you've got a little mixing jar or something else, like one of these, highly recommend getting, because they're dead handy for this. And, pop a bit of paint in there, give it a whirl. But you will notice if you put 3rd gens with leveling thinner, it will thicken. So you're going to need to thin it a little bit more. And at that point, it sprays beautifully. Is it designed for it? Don't know. But yes, it's one of those ones where it's like, it does do it. I don't know if it's recommended, though, shall we say?
Probably not. It's funny how some acrylics do work with it, though, isn't it? Vallejo does. Vallejo thins really nice, but it's got to be leveling thinner.
Yeah.
For whatever it is, we've said this before, it's got to be leveling thinner. It won't do it with rapid thinner or normal lacquer thinners or whatever. It's obviously the retarder or whatever's in leveling thinner makes it work. But yeah, we did a test, didn't we, down at yours? Oh, that works, and that worked.
It did. We did. We do this when Matt comes down. We have a habit of sitting here, getting out everything, and just blitz and see what works, what doesn't.
Yeah. Just see.
It's working, is it? And then we have had problems in the past, though. Just for clarity here, we've mentioned, this works. It doesn't work with certain colours.
No, that's a good point. Again, I think it's pigments and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
that's why I say about if you test it, if you put just a drop and a drop of thinners in there, see how it mixes. If it thickens it up, put a drop more thinners into it. If it then goes to normal paint, you're good to go with it. But it's a bit like the old days when if you put you can do it if you put X20A, for instance, into model color. If you put one drop in, it'll turn to toffee, but you can thin through it and it'll work. Yeah. But again, it's not recommended because it doesn't really, what did you say? It's not designed to do it, and it's going to probably bite you at some point, but you can get away with it if you are in a little bit of a stretch. Like for me, I did the Draken years ago, and I needed that. I don't know what they call it. Is it basalt grey or something underneath it? The only colour I could find that did it back then, this would have been late 90s, was model colour, and that's how I know that trick. And it's in one of the video builds. But when you first put it in, it literally was like on the brush stuck, and you just add thinners to it and just keep going, and it released it, and it sprayed beautifully and went down. But it's not really designed for doing it. David says, stop making models, you're costing me a fortune, because now he wants to build a CL215. I tell you what, for a Hella kit, and I know we've been building this for months now, well, years, it's really, really good kit. There's something about Hella. Everyone overlooks Hella and just think, oh, it's Hella. Think of Airfix in the bad days. No, they got really, really nice. This thing is amazing detail right the way over it. Yes, it's all raised. So yes, you are going to have those problems with it of going, obviously re-riveting it and stuff like that. But it really has been a very, very fun build.
I don't know if you've ever built one, but you know what's just come back out from Italy, and I think it's one of their better kits, is the old Stinger.
Stinger?
Yeah, the C119, is it?
Oh, right, yes. Yeah.
They've just re-released it, which is the gunship one.
Oh, right, yeah.
It is, isn't it, the Stinger? It is a Stinger, isn't it?
Sure
it is. But that's a gem of a kit, and it's quite an interesting aircraft as well. It's got the booms, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got the twin booms off the back end. Yeah.
Again, it's raised detail and that, but it's one of their better kits, I think, and a more interesting subject.
Yes.
Plus
everyone's saying you're making them twitchy doing this on camera.
Why? I know I'm a professional.
Yeah, and as Greg just pointed out, it's all right. You've got 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, so you have spares.
He might not have a thumb in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much would it cost to add a canopy mask if you've tooled the model? There's a thing about that. We actually put that exact question to Airfix.
Yeah.
And it's not as straightforward as you think.
Well,
so, yeah, well, to them it's not. Considering they designed it, from a design point of view, they can't just take the measurements from the mold. Again, because the way that they design the kits, it doesn't actually show it. It's not like they can just level it out and know, and that's the one and goes through. It has to be done separately, apparently. So, but again, we are seeing it now, because I don't know if you saw, but the review I just did for the Hobby Boss Hurricane comes with a mast set, and the new Devastator in 32nd comes with a mast set as well.
Oh, is this the thing from Trumpy and Hobby Boss then, do you reckon?
In fact, I don't know if I said that. You might have to forget I even mentioned that, but it was only because I was told by a very, very reliable source said to me, all of their kits are going to come with them now.
Oops.
But you didn't hear that from me.
What? You just said it publicly.
I'm led to believe all the new toolkits will come with the mast sets now anyway.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. A reliable source let me know that they've seen the light when they're going for it. Yeah, it'll be fine. It's all right.
To be honest with you, like Edard's done it for years, hasn't they? I know you don't kind of get it with their weekend kits, but yeah, I've got cracking eyesight. Look, that's why I've got Optivisors as strong as the telescope to the Hubble telescope.
He's got 4 Optivisors. He's got his glasses on, then he's got Optivisors on as well.
Terrible.
He's like the bloke off the repair shop with all his glasses, and he comes out, he's got 9 pairs of glasses on.
I'll tell you in a minute, Stuart. Let's just carry on, Phil, and I'll answer Stuart's question.
No, go on. You're all right. You're fine. Go.
All right. He's just asked, before you paint the face and hands on her feet, would you put down a white first, or do you just start with the colours you want to? I just put a coat of primer on, grey, black, dark brown, whatever. But I just normally start with a, I will show you in a minute. Either one of them, a dark brown colour. Sorry, there you go.
Yeah.
A saddle brown or a mahogany brown or any dark brown colour, really, a reddy brown. Just start, so then you've kind of got a shade going. And build it up from that. I mean, even Shadow Flesh, which is a bit redder, but this is the AK one. But Shadow Flesh as well, you could do it off that.
Yes.
But to be honest with you, there's that many different, I suppose, ways of painting flesh. neither's right nor wrong. You can put white down and go from white. You could go from black. You could go from brown. You can blue, whatever. It's absolutely your call, I think, with it, because there's just tons and tons of different recipes, and it's what you're comfortable with. So.
Tamiya includes mask sets with some. They do with pretty much all of their kits. But as you say, my point is, why bother if you haven't die cut them?
Yes, when you've got to cut your own out.
When you've got to cut your own out, like the Tamiya one. So don't get me wrong, but it's like saying, well, there you go, now to get on with it. If you're going to do it properly, die cut it at least.
Yeah.
You know? Because I know their cars, they've always done it, haven't they? And you know?
Yes. Yeah, they started it with some aircraft as well, though, haven't they? Some of the later release aircraft. It sounds daft, but I'm not buying this mass set thing, and you can't do it. And if it's your own kit, you know your own dimensions of what you're doing, don't you?
Yes.
So I ain't buying this. Well, we can't do it because of this. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Because
it's going to be a little bit more work, but you could do it.
Yeah. But again, it's my. You know, people always ask us, "Is what's the most thing you hate about this hobby?" And I've always probably said photo etch, but actually, I really enjoyed doing the photo etch on my 222. I kind of got into it, and I kind of got my head around it. I think I said I don't like it because I'm not overly confident with using photo etch, and that's my own not practicing really or using it enough to get my head around it. I do, with a passion, hate masking clay pots. Absolutely hate it. I'd avoid it. I'd avoid it if it hasn't. You know, if I can't get an aftermarket mask set, I won't probably build the kit. I mean, the only thing I don't know why I've done it with this, to be honest, but I've actually masked my own can. I'm dreading to think what's under that. Yeah. Because I've used the Mr. Hobby triangles and squares. I think it is. Is it or triangles and circles? Yeah. You get like a sheet. A pre-cut and the infinity board, but oh god, because the frames on this as well aren't brilliant. I don't suppose it's so bad when the frames are good, but yeah, I don't know. It's not an enjoyable job for me at all. No, I've got to say. But luckily now, with that many companies coming out who do mask sets, some of them do some really, really obscure kits that you won't think I'd never get them. I mean, I've got a mask set for my Airfix Puma helicopter. Who'd have thought that? And you know, I was looking through my bits and bobs, and I have got some odd mask sets, but like I say, at least you can get them. I think it's one of those things, like as you say, the guy's saying in chat about it is, you know, even if it was in the instructions, as we saw with who did it first, ICM did it, didn't they? Was it ICM did it? Where they gave the templates. Yeah, they gave you the template, so at least you could put your own tape on, you know, stick your own tape down and then just cut round it and away you go, or photocopy it and print it, you know, because you do the old trick with a photocopier and then obviously heat transfer it on and do it that way and cut them out afterwards. So you know, from my point of view, where Tamiya's one, they're not cut, I'd rather it was just down and I cut them out myself than on one of theirs, you know, for the sake of it. If it's costing money to do it, because it's quicker and easier to do it that way. But again, it's one of those where it's nice to see now that obviously someone like Trumpeter's decided, right, you know what, we'll chuck in a mask set into it, you know, because again, we were saying the Hobby Boss Hurricane, it's got a nice bit of photo etch in there. No, it's not coloured or anything else, but you paint it yourself. But you've got everything you need in one box now, which is quite nice. Yeah. It's all right, I'm watching the chat. Can you get the Tamiya polishing canopy stuff? Is that as do you mean in the compounds, the polishing compounds? If that's the case, no. They won't bring them in. We've got the little polishing sponges. To be honest, Richard, just get down like Halfords and buy some car polish. Same stuff. Yeah. You know, as long as you don't get the super gritty compound, fine compound will do. Yeah, you want a polishing compound. I tell you what else polishes as well. Toothpaste. Yeah, toothpaste is a good one. Polishes your teeth. Yeah. Polishes. Got enough bite in there. Yeah, that's it. It will polish. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Look, Greg's far too tight to buy a mask set. Well, you can suffer then, Greg. You're on your own.
Yes, I must admit, I have got a little bit of T-cut down here, and you'll see me do it. And I use a little bit of T-cut if I've made a right hash of doing one. Now, it's got a deep centre because it just breaks the work a bit. But then you need a polishing compound afterwards just to, get rid of all the marks in your clear parts.
Yeah. Yes, is but yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's one of them. Thing like Hobbyco do bring in Tamiya and everything. It's one of their sort of items they don't bring in, which is fun. I have actually got the polishers in here as well. I had to buy them off Evil Bay probably, or there's somewhere in one of my drawers. Yeah, they go. Look, they can't be that toxic.
No.
So why they don't do it, I don't know. But
I must admit, I've just got their polishing compound. That's the only one I've got. The finishing one. Yeah. Finishing compound, I think they call it.
Yeah, the finishing one is that one, isn't it? The silver one's the finish, and then what you got? You got fine and coarse. So you can go through the grits, but it is literally just car polishing stuff, really, isn't it?
Like everything in this world, it does seem to be a little bit like that.
It is, obviously. I know. I've polished enough cars in the past, so I know what it is. But I suppose it's in more of a handy tube, innit, than buying a big bottle of bloody stuff. But yeah,
get the old auto glim out, you'd be fine.
Exactly. Get down auto glim. Yeah.
Right, what else have we got? So toothpaste bring the clarity back. Yeah, don't forget, it's just polishing compound. Toothpaste has got a very, very fine amount of, was it pumice in it or something?
Pumice, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And it just literally polishes the surface, and then obviously it's doing the same thing to your clear parts.
Yeah. I always forget the minty fresh.
Yeah, that's it. Your canopy smells nice.
Yeah, we're going to have minty fresh Flory polish.
Yes. You could do. I don't know if I've still got an account of Auto Glim from back in the day. We'll just go and buy, used to get it in the big 5 litres.
Yeah. I'll nip next door. They've got
loads. Pop next door, that's it.
Pop next door to the unit next door, they've got loads.
Yeah, we're selling a new product, polishing, canopy polishing stuff, and it's like £5 for a bottle this big. Typical way.
Be funny,
and it smells just like Auto Glim. Funny that. Rubber tyres on the Hobby Boss 48 scale Hurricane look fine to me. To be honest, they will be all right. I know it caused a little bit of discussion when I said about it. I'm not a fan of rubber ones, not because they melt, because that's old school stuff. I don't think tyres melt like they used to be back in the day. The bit you pick them up and it's gone gooey to whatever you stuck it to. Because again, they use proper vinyl these days. My problem is, obviously, if you're going to do weight on wheels, you have to cut the tyre to sort of represent it and do it. And I think it's just easier to sand it, because cutting rubber can be a little bit of a nightmare. Yeah. Best way to do it is pop it in the freezer, freeze it overnight, and then sand it with a really coarse sanding stick.
Yes.
So, yes. I think Matt, says, thanks, Matt. I'll give a go with the brown shades. A go first. Also thinking of doing an airliner. I know, Phil, you've got one on your site. You did. Wondered if you do anything different now. Wondered if you would do one now. Do anything different. Probably not. I still stand by it. Again, airliners are one of those things, a bit like we did the Jumbo VC10 over there. It's one of those ones where just get rid of the seam line. That's all you've got to do. The canopy around the canopy, not so much, but the glasswork around the cockpit, blending that seamlessly, and then obviously getting rid of the seam lines all on it, because they're the biggest thing. And the trouble you have with airliners, they just stand out. There's no hiding it, because normally it's under a gloss coat of something. So that seam line running right the way down it has got to go. So you're going to spend a lot of time making sure that's gone, and a lot of time on the clear parts making sure they're blended beautifully. After that, everything's pretty straightforward, but you can spend probably as much time as you might be messing around like I've done on this thing on an airliner, just making sure it's perfect. Because like on here, technically there's a huge center line going through here. You can't see it, but it's hidden in a lot of ways because of all the surface detail on this. So again, it's just one of those ones, sand, fill, polish if you like, and all the rest of it, prime it, see what it looks like, and then move on to other areas. But again, a lot of doing airliners is more akin to doing things like, the paintwork, making sure that's perfect as well, because it's like doing a car. So everything's got to be pure glossy colours and stuff like that. They're a lot of fun to do.
What, cars?
Well, glossing airliners and stuff, because I think it's easier doing an airliner than it is a car, actually, because airliners is just a tube. So it's quite easy to spray it.
I've just chopped the back of his helmet off.
Oh, no.
I didn't want to cut that a bit too close. Good job, I've got plenty of spare, isn't it?
Is that where his hand's going to be holding it?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be covered up either, the bit I've just removed. That's better. I'm not struck on the music today.
I can only just about hear it in the background, so we're okay.
Can you actually hear that?
Very, very faintly. Occasionally I can hear it, yeah. But it's very, very quiet.
I think you can normally hear it when I talk. It comes in for some reason.
Well, it's because your mic picks up, because the noise cancellation thing cuts in when you're not doing anything. So that's what that is.
I haven't picked a good soundtrack today, I'm afraid. It's a bit like being in a bad jazz club. Oh.
Guys, is the Hobby Boss 148 scale Hurricane better than the Hobby 2001? So the Hobby 2001 is the old thingy kit, isn't it?
Hold on, the helmets fell off.
Oh, hold on. Stop
right,
playing.
Yeah, it's all right, found it. Right, carry on. Sorry, say again, mate.
So the Hobby 2000 Hurricane
is the Hasegawa one.
Is the old Hasegawa kit.
I don't think that's a bad kit.
To be honest, I still think it's a nice kit. It is. You know, your options out there for the Hurricane, literally got the Airfix one, which isn't a bad kit either. You know?
Yeah.
You got that one. You got the Hobby Boss one, because this is for the Mark 1 we're talking about. Yeah. And then you've got the, obviously, now they've got the Hobby Boss one. The Italeri one, what's that one like?
I don't think it's that too bad.
I've never built that one.
I don't think it's bad for Italeri. But I'm not 100%. But yeah, I think it's a bit like their Stuka. It's all right. I mean, it can't be that bad because thing is reboxed it, Tamiya. I don't think the rebossed too much dross from, you know.
What's Alan's question? Apparently, I've missed Alan's question. Hold on, it's in a different thing. Alan said, "Morning all. Does anyone have any advice on bending clear styrene?"
Oh,
do you mean as in tubes or sheets of it, or are you talking about clear parts type styrene? So again, there's quite a difference. Which one, Alan, are you talking about? Clear parts molded, injection molding, or are you talking about like what I do, bending, you know, for stands and stuff? Because they are different items to play with. Acrylic is different to styrene.
Yeah.
Hold on, we'll see if he comes back. Satellite delay.
He's typing. Yeah, that hand's going to have to go, peeps. It's going to have to be amputated. And
no. Look, he's going to cut his hand off. Everyone squint.
Yes,
it's like a scene from Game of Thrones.
I see a lot of hand cutting off in Game of Thrones. I've never seen.
Mr. Lannister, wasn't it, back in the day? I think.
I don't know. I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones.
Have you not watched it? How the hell have you missed Game of Thrones?
Because I'm just so interested in it.
Oh my lord! I must admit, I'm catching back up on my Vikings these days.
Oh yeah.
Now the other half's back at work. I can watch my stuff, as she calls it.
I tell you what, I started to watch the other day because I had the house to myself.
Yes.
No sniggering at the back. 1917.
Oh right, yeah. I must admit, I sort of gave up with that after we were talking about it because it just was a little bit too much over my head. I'll have to get back in. I only got to the bit where he's on the boat.
On the boat? On the boat? What boat?
Are you talking about the thing that's like Titanic, the missing one, that one?
No, the film 1917.
The World War one. Film. Sorry, the World War One film. Sorry, I thought you meant series.
Oh, you meant yeah. I know. Yeah, I've not watched any of that either.
Yeah.
No, I'm on about the film 1917.
Oh right, yeah, no, it's a good film. That is cleverly done because it's all shot in one scene, isn't it?
Yes.
Non-stop.
Yeah. So.
Right. Okay. So we're talking sheets. Need to fashion a new windscreen. All right. So it's going to be. I don't think it's acrylic, as in acrylic normally. Then, so that's going to be difficult. Technically, yeah. If you put too much heat with it, it will blister and fog. If you put in hot water, it probably won't be hot enough to be able to bend it, and because you need to hold it as well at the same time, because it will need to be near boiling. and then it might just turn to jelly anyway because it's thin. Really, really difficult to bend clear styrene sheet, if you like. You can get, and I've got some somewhere. Hold on, hold your ears a minute. Matt, take over a sec. I've just got to unplug.
All right, no problem.
Let me have a look in here. What's it called?
So what we put? Let me just get chat. While he's just shut off, he's
okay. So you can get this stuff, which was from John. He's got a vac forming company, and he vac forms stuff out of this canopies. And this is quite thin, but this is obviously you need to heat it up, and then he uses it for like plunge molding and vac forming. It's really, really clear, but that is, I don't know, 1/4 mil, I would say. It's quite thin, very, very clear. But as I say, he uses it for doing canopies. He brought me some over when we were doing some other projects. But something like that. So is that the type of stuff you've got? So again, it's quite flexy. But so again, you could probably heat it up. So the way of doing that one is literally like a hot air gun. Heat it from a thing. So it's very much like acrylic. So yes, there you go. One of the guys in chat's just put up a link for it, or for vac forming stuff anyway. So that's what you want, but you need vac forming acrylic. So if that's the stuff you got, you should just be able to heat it up. So what you can do, you can get your hot air gun, because we've done it here years ago, stick it down here, blasting your hot air up. You hold this above it, and then we made a mold, and literally you heated this until it was like proper sagging, and then you just dropped it over it. And that's without vac forming it, and then just pushed it down a little bit around the sides, and it was enough that we needed to do it. And then John came here, and we did some stuff for making lights and various things with this stuff as well. But it depends on the stuff you're doing. So you pre-fire, there you go, Alan. So I probably wouldn't say hot water. It probably won't be enough to do it. So heat it up with a hot air gun. That's what I would say. Heat it with a hot air gun, and then you'll be out. If you make yourself a mold of something, even if you do it out of a block of wood or something else like that, heat it up until it proper sags, and then as soon as it sags, literally just took it over and then just shove it over it and then pull it down each side. Obviously you've got a vac form machine and all the rest of it, it's like proper happy days. But for doing it manually, and hopefully you'll get enough of doing a windscreen or whatever you need to do, but you'll need to have a male mold underneath for it to go onto. So you might be able to make it from the original, you know, so you could cast one in theory. If you got a little bit of plaster, you know, cast it to the old one, and then obviously take the part off and then plunge the new one onto it and try it that way.
That's what John did for me, isn't it? For them special hobby kits.
Yeah, we vac formed ones off of yours. Yeah, that's it.
Because the original ones had gone yellow.
Yeah.
So he just made a, like I say, is it a book they call it? Out to the originals, out to plaster, and I think it's got to be proper hard plaster though, and it can't be that soft
no,
plaster.
No, it goes rock hard.
I've actually got some down there. I think it's called Herky. It's like dental plaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
What they do your dentures with and all that sort of stuff. Really hard. And then he made like plunge mold me some new backform canopies for the kit. So
yeah,
worked a treat actually. Looked really good. So yeah. So what got left on this CL22 then? 214.
We'll say we just got the gear is on now, although I might have to just do this wheel again at some point to get going with that one. So what I thought we'd probably do now is attempt to get a bit of weathering onto it. So I'm looking, I've got loads of references up in front of me of various weatherings on CLs.
Go on then, I'll watch chat and you can put yourself...
And they all look pretty nice and clean.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
That's the trouble. It's like, crikey. Not being funny, like I can do a share screen here just for everyone. This is the images I'm looking at. They don't look that dirty, do they? That's the thing. So, yeah. Obviously, I know that's a 4-1, although they've got it listed as a 2-1, because it's clearly because I'm searching for. But even, like, lots of these are very, very clean. There's a Buffalo one.
Oh, yeah, Buffalo Airways.
Buffalo Airways. So, yeah, they are all kept really, really nice. It's usually just the engine bits up here and stuff like that. So this is one of those areas you're like, right, okay, do we now sort of wing it a bit? See, that's got a bit of grime
But
on
that's
it.
got a bit of streaking and
A bit
grime.
of greeping. All right, we'll go with a bit of that then.
I think you need to add something, but don't.
Well, I was just thinking it'd stick. It'll cling to the rivets and stuff a little bit. That's the plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking on this one. So what I'll do is I will make up a little wash, and we'll try it with a little bit of an enamel wash over it. A bit of oil wash, sorry, not enamels.
Enamel wash.
Sorry, I haven't done that for a while.
Going back to the 90s.
Yes. So what we got down in here, we will grab our very nice low odor phenols.
Other brands are sold in PM models.
Yeah, other brands are available. And then we've got me little dipstick, me pipette. I'm just going to pump out a little bit on here.
I've been using your clear dropper bottle things. Show them on the camera.
What, my bowls?
Yeah, the ones you sell. The
what, the ones like these?
Yes, I've been decanting my thinners again into them.
Oh, yes.
Because they're bigger, I've done my X20A, my attacker thinner, my life colour.
Yeah,
so I can
that's
use the dropper bottle to measure. Because next time I do some painting on here, I will show you, because people ask about mixing ratios, don't they, of acrylics?
Yeah.
I'll show you how I do it. And it's not so much the mixing ratios, it's the thinness against the side of a cup. It's that technique. It's a really old technique, but it actually works for, I would say, most acrylics. So I'll show you next time we're I'm painting anything. So
okay, so yeah, we've got a smidge on a brush, nothing massive.
I'm watching you and not chat. Why am I watching you? So, good old enamel wash. Yes, stink the house out and everything.
No, this is low odor. This is all right. Doesn't smell at all. It's weird actually because it literally smells like water. If water has a little bit of a smell, but this low odor one, which is, as I say, the way you sort of do it and the way I explain it is low odor thinners is probably the highest refined ones you can get. So if you imagine, if you go down your local hardware store and buy a cheap bottle for £1, that's going to be proper rough, and it's not going to be probably very nice, and it could literally eat your paint in a lot of cases. So by the more quality you get, like the artist quality, the smoother the finish. And I don't know how well you can see it in here, but this is proper smooth. There's no grittiness to this at all, even though this oil is probably God knows how old now.
Can I just answer a quick question while you're doing that?
Yeah,
that's all right. It's from John about the 132nd zero.
Yeah.
The thing is, them zeros were special ordered in from Tamiya, and Hobbyco has stopped doing the special orders because somebody asked, because we mentioned about the 117. What is it, Phil? The stealth plane.
F-117.
F-117. Yeah. Well, as far as I know, that one is discontinued and it's not in the catalogue anymore. So the zero obviously is, but my rep who I spoke to yesterday was going to ask his boss basically if they're going to do it again, the special orders, because we have to order them in cartons. So when Phil got his, we did a pre-order, didn't we? Yeah, and the F-15 asked about the F-15C as well, which was another pre-order that we did, because we have to obviously order so many in to get the order in. So if it's a box of 3 or 6 or 30 or whatever it is, that's what we have to order. We have to order carton. So we will see. I've asked the question, and like I say, I'll wait for him to get back to me, but they had to stop doing it for the time being, so I don't know. Right, carry on, mate. Sorry. There you go.
No, you're right. No, it is a good question.
It is a good question.
Again, the question is, why don't they just bloody bring them in?
Well, that's what when we ever get
that's my question.
When we ever get back down there, we'll ask him. Yeah. We'll ask the boss and go,
we get the thumb screws out and say,
it's obviously, I would have thought the F-15 would have been a half decent seller.
Well, I would have thought so, yeah.
I can kind of see with the zero, but I can't, because that is a cracking kit, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Yeah, it's classic Tamiya, isn't it? It's a bit like, no different really. Why have not that one, but then they've got the Spitfire and the Mustang out and the Corsair.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why don't you just bring them all out? So,
yeah. I mean, somebody mentioned the old Ravel Corsair, the F4U.
Oh my lord, that's
Don't
proper
hear
ancient.
that.
Yeah.
It's
But
Robert said about it is a crude kit. I think that's being polite, isn't it?
it's of its age.
It is. There is that way of putting it. It is of its age as well. So get the Tamiya one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much of a comparison.
No.
But yeah, as for the Zero and stuff, it's I don't know. It's a bit odd. It's a bit odd why they don't bring them in, because again they bring a lot of the other 30-second stuff in, like the F4 Phantoms are in, the Bunker Buster F15,
Yeah.
the Mosquito, like I say, the Spitfires, Mustangs, Corsairs are brought in. So I don't know. There must be a reason behind it, whether they don't sell a lot of them or what. I don't know, but because we'll see what he comes back with. Look at that. Slap it all over.
So yeah, so at the moment what we're doing, because obviously most of this is going to come back off, so you can get in quite a bit. So we're just going to let it naturally, hold on, we go wider shot, I don't have to kill myself then. So we're naturally letting it run down. What we're trying to avoid is tide marks as such. So we just want it to naturally bead up as it's doing around here everywhere, because a lot of this we're going to take off once it starts drying through, which will take a little bit. But as it's drying through, then we can blend and buff this back. So a lot of the yellow will come back, but hopefully we'll leave a lot of it, because don't forget this is all raised detail. So if you was to use the clay wash, it would do this, but it wouldn't do it as refined as this is. So that's the difference. You could use the clay wash. Yes, it would cling. It would do everything it's doing here, but what it's not going to do is be able to cling as closely as oil will, because the oil will literally just hang right around all this raised rivets and details and stuff down in here. As this dries, it will fade off anyway. And then obviously what we can do, we can then buff in very lightly, probably with a brush as well. We'll be doing a lot of brush buffing to actually get it to sort of stay where we want it and remove it from in between the rivet lines and things like that. So again, but what we don't want is things like this wingtip over here. It's got tide now, it's peering down in here. So every now and again, we just come along and we sort of manipulate it a little bit. Also, you can do the thing about hanging it the other way, because this won't take as long to dry as you might think. It'll probably take a good half hour to get workable, but as it starts to dry out, then it will go through. This, don't forget, has also had an acrylic clear coat protecting it completely from everything that's underneath here. It's quite a glossy one, as you've seen as well. So from that point of view, it should come off really relatively easy, because it hasn't got any texture that it's got caught in as if we were going over a matte finish or a satin finish or something else like that. But you can probably see, like down in here, if we flip this over, you can see how it runs both ways. So like now I've just tipped it up and now it's running this way, because it was all pulled up down in here, but we will leave that because that actually looks quite nice on its own. And you can see how it's like drying out down underneath here because we didn't put quite as much on, and it will go through. But we should be able to work this and we'll be able to buff all of this to get it in. So a lot of it is just going to be natural. So this bit around this area especially, you could just literally leave it as is and just lightly buff it and not actually play with it too much. Yeah, on the top here, probably a little bit strong, so it probably needs to be a little bit of work in there. So again, we'll just pop some underneath as well. So this is literally just oil, ABT 005, my favourite. Bit of the old Abteilung, it's finest. And we just pop this around. And what we'll do is we'll switch out for other colours over the grey. So down in here on the black, we'll put a little bit of grey wash in here. So it just highlights and shows all those areas. But, for the moment, we're just going over everywhere with it and just going in. Again, you could change it out with the yellow as well, with the red as well. So for the moment, though, we just want this all to work in and to sit and start to dry quite naturally, all in its environment. And then we'll go around and start manipulating it and playing with it and everything once it's all down in here. So again, same goes under here. So literally we just get that all in. What I'll do, I'll hold it via the back end, and that way I've got somewhere to hold it, and then we'll just come back and switch out. So again, pop it down. See, you've got a lot down in here. We're just going to pull all of this off. We'll use it elsewhere. And again, it will flow. It will go down and do all its stuff. So it is quite, it's one of those that will get on with it all on its own. So we just pull it down that far, so it's all underneath the doors. And we do this side as well. And again, don't panic about using oils because you've got lots of working time with it, because if it all goes wrong, you're just going to add a little bit of thinners to this and then just wipe it all off and go again. So, but again, the coat has been protected. It's all been protected underneath here. There's nothing, we're not going on to neat paint or anything. It's all been sealed, so we shouldn't have a problem with anywhere at all. So hopefully you can see going down there like that. This is starting to dry off already at the back here. Hopefully you can see it. It's going dry. And what will happen is it will go to a funny, well, hopefully, sort of, I don't know, dry, dull colour, if you like. So actually it's starting to work quite well there. You can see it hopefully on there. That's drying back. So what we want it to do though is dry a little bit further. If you come in now, there's too much moisture all the way around it. And what's going to happen is you're just going to end up reactivating everything around it. And it's going to go through. And to be honest, I can tell you what some of this is. Some of this grittiness you see over here, this is dust. Because I didn't dust it first, which was a little bit of a schoolboy error. The dust particles now are gripping onto the actual areas. So again, but it won't matter for what we're going to do with it. But yeah, hopefully you can see. So again, we'll just give that a minute just to dry. And then we'll come back in. Again, at the same time, we'll just grab a little bit of grey. Just to do that engines area. Or you could use buff or something else. So again, this one here, we've just got a little bit of light grey, which is ABT 170. Lola, you're far too early.
Yeah.
Sorry, the other hound has turned up now. Hello, mate. Yes. Right. So
has Lola turned up by any chance?
She has. She's here with me now to lend assistance. And tell me that, do you realise it's getting near my dinner time?
20 minutes yet?
Yeah, that's it. Right, so got a little bit of grey just down in here. And then what we're going to do, most of it off, is going to pop a little bit down over these engines. And again, these are going to get hammered anyway, but this is just some base weathering over them. So the same thing is happening on these. You can see that lovely raised riveting detail that we put back in about 6 months ago. You want to see how we did that? Rewind the shows a long way.
God, yeah. You'd be doing a lot of editing and timelining to find that.
Yeah. But again, you can see those, what we're going to do with it. So these will be the first point of it.
Hobby Time has just asked, what's the best super glue to use as a filler? See, I like the black super glue.
Yeah. I like the normal magnet stuff, AKs, purely because it lasts forever.
Yeah, and you mix it with talc, don't you?
Yeah. Johnson's talc. Unless you're in California where it's illegal.
Yeah, original talc.
Original talc, yeah.
Not the new synthetic.
Yeah, not the new funny stuff. The original talc.
You need proper talc. And it makes a nice concrete, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've got videos on that. If you have a look on the website, there is actually videos on there showing about using it.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're just going to let that sit on there and dry for a moment or two, which is all starting to dry on this wig already. Again, it doesn't take that long. You think with oils, they go, oils take forever. No, they don't. They're all right. You could speed it up with a hairdryer if I had one.
No,
so
you're on full screen, aren't you? It's okay.
That's all right. I'm coming off now.
It's all right. I'm not kicking you off. I was just going to, because it's super glue, and I'll just show you yours and my choice.
Yes. Yeah.
So there you go. One's a magnet, one's a VMS black.
Yeah.
Because Black Widow's not available now from AK.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but they make good fillers. Super glue fillers. So yeah.
Okay, so hello Lola. Look everyone. Lola says it's near 5 o'clock. Who needs an alarm clock when you have a Labrador? You want to say hello to everyone? Oh, clearly you do. Hello. All right. Yes. No, I know. You are starved. Clearly you're wasting away.
Poor dog.
Yeah, could you sponsor poor Lola? Mind you, if you price of dog food, Christ, 50 quid a sack now. I remember it's like 35 quid a sack before the world went to pot.
You'll have to be rationed low.
Yes, that's it. Need a smaller dog.
Yeah.
No, you're right, mate. We won't get rid of you yet.
Yeah. If it goes up another tenner, you
Yeah, you're still just about in the cusp of it, 'cause it does last you a good month and a half, almost 2 months. So
yeah, we're about to do a thingy for some new food, to be honest, for her. So now she's on the adult stuff. At least there's less of it than we use in the puppy stuff. But yes.
yeah, no, mind you, you'll be all right because the puppy stuff's expensive, isn't it? That's the thing. It's a little bit cheaper now when they're into the adults.
Like I said, they need more of it, don't they? So.
Did we find out why AK stopped making Black Widow?
No, we didn't. If a spokesperson from AK can come and answer that question.
Yeah. If everyone at AK would like to come and talk to us.
The only reason I can think of from me using it, it goes very stringy when it gets a bit older. And I mean really, really stringy. I wonder if that was something they had a complaint about, but I've got no idea myself. I don't know. So.
Yeah. I'm building a Shackleton 172nd Mark III. What would be a good colour wash for the upper and lower grey surfaces? So again, if you're doing any types of greys, you've got two options. You can either go darker than the grey is and almost to a black. So if you're using like clay washes, I would always go with like the dark dirt, 'cause it's got a brown hue to it, so you can see it on black, you can see it on dark grey, no problem. Or you can go the other way and go down the light grey or medium grey route, so you can still see it, because all you're trying to do is get a contrast to show the detail. So like on here, for instance, we're using a smoke colour, so it's got a bit of a brown hue, because black would just be way too strong for this. But hopefully with this onto here and we start blending around with it and all the rest of it, it'll be fine. But yeah, you just want something that's not too strong. You just want it to be a different, like a slight contrast to it, so it just stands out.
Yep, I agree. It's all right. The thing in my appendage on the B26, but I actually broke it off. I've got to re-stick it, hence why it's a bit crooked.
Do you know what? I did notice there was a gap. I could see through it when you were holding it up at the beginning of the show, and I thought that tail's not sitting properly.
I broke it off.
Yeah.
I thought, actually, that's worked to my advantage, because obviously I needed to remove the decal, so I just clamped it and sprayed it last night.
Oh, right.
So hence why it's not straight.
Yes.
I do not plan leaving it like that. I will glue it back into where it should be, but yeah. I don't know.
Well, what are the old Purina foods, or is it Purina they pronounce it? That's really expensive over here. That's what the vets always tell you need to have, isn't it? Because you're all on a kickback.
Yeah, because they're bloody sponsored or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's really expensive. I must admit, all my dogs for years have been on Arden Grange. Love it. Lots goes in, hardly anything comes out the other end. Yeah. So I always think that's a good quality food.
Yeah, we've got ours on a good quality. I can't remember. I don't know if it's Arden Grange or another one, but it's a good quality food. So, so it sounds a bit grim, but it's not so bad to clean up after them.
Yes.
I don't know how thingy managed when they used to be on proper like pedigree chub.
Oh, wet food, yeah, yeah.
Or the actual proper raw. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, don't think so. Anyway, so
yes. Yeah. Thank you. Always live chat is much better than books. It is. Look, we can have a little yap.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, our projects will be plodding along.
Yes.
I think is the word. It's not going to be sort of a sprint.
No. But
we'll get there and we'll try and show bits and pieces how we do it. When we do it and how we do it. So, yeah, it's a bit slow and steady, but.
No, it'll be all right. It'll be fine.
Quite enjoyable hour and a half in it, or a couple of hours, whatever we do. Quite nice.
It is. Well, we've done hour and 3/4 now. We're on a roll.
Yeah,
it's like a telethon. I'll just keep changing the thing. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It'll be fine.
So, anybody who's interested, while we're advertising, if you go over to the PM store, we've resurrected a section.
Oh, hold on, I can do that. I've got it here, actually. I have it up. Here we go.
That we took off. Now, there's only a few bits in it, but there's going to be a lot more tomorrow because there's a lot more stuff I need to pass over to my colleague. But if you do actually, as I've been building them, good segue, go over into the dragon section.
I'm already in it. I'm ahead of you here.
You're ahead of me. So we are doing, obviously, we get a bit of a deal, shall we say. So we can do a good discount on dragon.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more in the shop that needs to be put in, to be honest. Figures and some more vehicles and a few other bits and bobs. So if you're interested, then here you go. It's not a bad discount, to be honest. Especially the Tigers. The Tigers are really actually nice kits. A lot of them, to be honest. But yes. Oh, do you guys know any Puma helicopter kits available? The Hellas have got the old Airfix one released. There's a Super Puma.
Yes.
As well. Italy did a Super Puma. And
but that's under a Cougar, isn't it? Which is a slightly different beast. They look very, very similar.
No, they did the Super Puma because I've got a set for it.
Right, okay. Because they do a Cougar as well, don't they?
Yeah, it's a very underrepresented helicopter, actually.
We're championing this, yes.
And we've pushed it for ages and nobody listens. But the old Matchbox one.
Yeah, which Matt's got
next door. It's next door. And then, like I say, 72nd wise is the old Airfix one, which has been reboxed by Hella as well. And then I think they do a Super Puma and Italy do a Super Puma, and then, like you say, a Cougar, and that is literally it, I think. So, well, have I gone all 8-bit?
You haven't on me, you're fine here.
No, it's gone 8-bit on my thing. So, there ain't many options, I'm afraid, for a Puma.
No.
So,
what am I planning to build after the 215's done? What, on here? For this channel, one of the many channels we have. Right, I just finished off the dozer, so that's going into paint this week. And as I say, hopefully we'll get this thing done. But what I want to do with this one, we're going to put it into some type of action scene. So I'm going to build a stand for it and all the rest of it. After this, for this particular show, I've got a few options, to be honest. I quite fancy having another go at a border models. Not border models. Yeah, them. Rubicon models, because I really enjoyed doing the Huey, and they're great. They go together in a day. They're just like brilliant. It's like building Bandai. We've got a real thing for them. But again, I have got lots of other options down around here for various stuff. So don't know yet, but we might put it out to a public vote and do it that way.
There you go, Jim. Are you planning? Yeah. Take my money. There you go, Jeff. I think Dragon get a bad rap, but actually, for what you get in the box now compared to other manufacturers, you get a full job lot with the etch and nice tracks and all sorts.
It's funny how the modelling world goes, because some manufacturers you often think of being very expensive kits, and then other ones you think of being the cheaper ones. And over the last sort of 5 years, and with COVID and all the problems from that, and obviously over in the UK, our economy going to pot, everything's sort of moved a little bit. So some manufacturers, originally you'd think they were quite expensive for what they were, actually now are pretty cheap, and vice versa. It's funny how things have, sort of changed really.
Yeah.
And with the prices of cost of kits that have been going up quite quietly and discreetly in the background, but they have been going up, and other manufacturers haven't put theirs up, or have been releasing new kits. Like we spoke about Academy, with their stuff, it was like that seemed very cheap compared to other people's these days. So it's all right.
Yeah, like I said, just keep an eye on that page because there's going to be a lot more added to it. So that'll probably be tomorrow.
Yes.
And we've also got coming in when it arrives is the new 1/12 Lotus from Tamiya. So that should be on its way as well. So do you recommend the poses of what? Remodel the poses. Sometimes I'm not, brilliant at resculpting, if I'm perfectly honest, but perhaps moving arms and hands and heads and stuff, I'm not quite into, proper remodeling them yet, shall we say. I'd love to be able to scratch build them, to be honest, like where they do the wireframes and build around them and stuff.
Yeah.
But, 3D printing's for that now, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, why mould it when you can 3D do it? Yeah,
well, it is really. Some of the, I know, is it Panzer Art, which I've got some of their are just immense figures, but I think they're all 3D or CAD sculptured, should I say? and then printed. And yeah, they look brilliant. They're really good. They're really good posers as well, to be honest. So big fan of their stuff, to be honest. Panzer Art, good. There's a lot of wires involved and pinning and filling bits in. But you've got to get, it's all right, like cut it off at his elbow and stuff. But then you still got to get the anatomy right of his arms aren't like a gibbon or something.
Yeah.
The
thing is, if you cut them and then you pin them with a bit of wire with an elbow joint in there, you've just added a millimetre, which makes him like a foot longer.
Exactly, yeah. It's going to be a knuckle dragger, isn't it? Which is going to be good. And it's same with legs as well.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an art form to it. Obviously, you've got to remove the right amount of material and put it back. So I've got books on sculpting, as you'd probably imagine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so, but not something I've really tried much, to be honest. I try and find the figures that have got the right pose.
Yeah.
Because, it's a skill set in itself, sculpting. But actually making the gear and stuff, because obviously the downside as well to styrene figures is the gear's very rigid.
Yes.
And it's getting like that to conform to the clothing, which again is not hard really. That's just a bit of putty work and stuff and then blending it in. But can probably show that as well on screen, because that does actually make a lot of difference. So it's just not floating in fresh air.
Yeah, got you.
Same with the hands and stuff. So there's little tricks that you can just upgrade them without going mental with it.
Going to town with it. Any news on the Zucamori 135th scale FW190s?
Do you mean the border models one?
I don't know. I'm just reading what's got in front of me. Richard says, any news on the Zucamori one?
Not the Zucamori one, but the which chat we're on? We're on our chat. 35th?
Yeah, it's our chat.
35th? No, 32nd. I think they're doing a 32nd one Zucamori. 35th one's border models anyway. The 190, and that is actually ordered. So
yeah.
Again, it's one of them. When it comes in, we've got our pre-ordering with said company we deal with, and we'll get ours. But yeah, the 32nd one, I did hear a rumor they were doing one of them actually. Zucamori, I don't know, to be honest. It's gone a bit quiet. I don't even know what next in from Zucamori. I can't remember.
We will have to see. Phil, how about doing a 24 scale Airfix Spitfire next? I'm blown out with big kits. To be honest, last year I did massive. Everything was 32nd or 24 scale. I did a 24 scale Hurricane last year, and we did a Spitfire last year. So doing another Spitfire again just seems a lot. So you think I did the Spitfire, we did the Tempest and the Hurricane. So I think we've sort of covered that a little bit for the moment, with other great models to do out there in different genres and stuff. And as you know, I don't stick to one type. I flit around everything. So yeah, I can't see myself doing one of those for the minute.
No.
Question: is Flory Model still making metal track sets?
Yes, but you have to get them straight from Hungary. Because I don't think they're exporting anymore. I don't know about Europe, but they're definitely not over here now. You just have to go straight to Flory Model. I'll be honest with you, Jim, there's better options out there nowadays.
Yeah.
A lot better for tracks.
And they're even put them together for you in some sweatshop.
I don't think they do them anymore.
Have they stopped? They've been caught.
Well,
I just have visions of small kids sitting there with trays full of tracks, putting them together, or they get beaten.
To be fair, what country they're in, they've got a bit more going on in the mind than making tracks.
This is it.
To be fair, to be honest, a lot of people now 3D printing workable tracks.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is like what Jim's probably going to come back with me is then you can't burnish them and make them all look, used. What who did we speak to?
I was when we were in Eindhoven.
I've got some of their tracks.
Yeah, in Eindhoven we were, and I used them as well on my Chieftain.
Because they are
beautiful tracks. Don't need any cleanup with them. That's the nice thing.
They started off with resin tracks, and then they switched to metal ones, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know what? I've got some somewhere.
Yeah, I used them on my Chieftain.
There we go. I've got them. There you go. Them.
Yeah.
Master Club.
Yeah. Hold on. Show the screen.
Drawer full of crap.
Yeah.
There you go. Master Club. So they're just some half track, but they're metal ones with They're really, really nice.
Yeah,
Really
the
nice.
nice thing with those, you don't have to do any cleanup with them,
No.
and the wire for pinning them is all there. Yeah, it's just lovely. It's very much straightforward.
Really, really good tracks there on Master Club.
Mm.
So I don't know whereabouts you're in the world, but I'm sure you can get them. I mean, I have got the Frulls, look. I've got sets of Frull tracks.
Yeah, I must admit I have as well. I've got a drawer full behind me.
It's a lot of drilling, cleaning, pinning and stuff, but they work, don't they? They do look good when they're done. Just a bit time consuming. I'm itching to try the 3D printed ones, to be honest. I know. I think like Ryefield are kind of doing them now as workables, and there's another company as well. Oh, I can't remember who, but I think they're adding them to their kit. So yours.
Yes, that's what you want, Jim. Master Club ones. Very nice to do.
Epic. And to be honest with you, I'll plug somebody who he don't sell out anyway, but he did a big review on him on YouTube. He's Panzermeister 36. If you go and look at him, he imported loads of tracks from different. He did resin ones, metal ones, and all sorts. So if you go onto his channel, you know, you can see what he thinks of them. So yeah.
Jim says, if we would like to sell Frill tracks, let's talk. Why? Who you, Jim? Do we need?
He wants to buy.
You need to talk to me. You need to talk to Matt. Matt's our buyer.
No, I think he wants to buy your tracks.
Oh right.
What you got? What you got?
I've got modern stuff. I think I've got Abrams. I've got one for a Bradley, and I think I've got something for someone else. I won't have that drawer because it'll fall out on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got Bradley tracks in there definitely. I've got Abrams tracks in there, and I think I've got something for Panther or something. So, but again, I just took them out, looked at them, and thought that's a lot of work. You know, so
it's not once you get going. It's like
like everything with tracks. It's just I quite like the ones on this where it's like click click and they're together and that's it. Move on.
Yeah.
Hi, Phil and Matt. Last week you said about the Gunzi. It's pretty much same as the Future Clear. You mentioned that the Fure suffers from yellowing over time, but does the Guzzi have the same fate? Thank you. I think it's one of those. It doesn't say it's UV protected and all the rest of it. Where's the dog gone? Oh, she has gone. She was lying down next to her. I didn't want to run her over. But I don't know if it says on here if it is sealed. Oh, you are here. Great.
What do you want? Scores?
Glossy seam and addresses. I don't know if it says it's like non-yellowing and all the rest of it. It doesn't actually say.
I can't read that small.
Yeah, perfect for brush painting, for metals, over extreme metals. Apply Guzzi agent over any single part of a surface of your model. Yeah, it doesn't actually say it's a non-yellowing one. But seeing as it's in a clear bottle as well, I don't think it probably will, because otherwise it will turn yellow in here over time. And this one, to be honest, it must be, I don't know how old now, but when it first got released, because to be honest, they sent me it. So, yes. It's got to be quite old. I don't think it yellows obviously as quick as wax does. Johnson's Floor Wax obviously is an acrylic one, and it has got a wax in it, and that's I think half the trouble with it. I think the wax is what was making things yellow really, really quickly, because I've known it to yellow within a year. So, yes.
Yeah, no, I'll say that's quite a new bottle, so I can't say because you've had yours a lot longer. But let's be clear, it is very different from Johnson's. It's a completely different product.
It's a lot thinner. That's the easiest way. It's mega thin.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's really nice for for hand painting it as well. You can hand paint this stuff.
You can, yeah.
And don't worry about it bubbles. When you hand paint it, it tends to bubble. It's very prone to bubbling. But if you just leave it, the bubbles pop and it lays fine, and you've made no problem at all. No problem at all.
I like it's convenient, especially when you want to decal over it. I'll probably give my B26 another coat, because I did it originally when I did my original decals, and then obviously I've had to repaint it again, so I'll do it again just to make sure I don't get any silver in my nemesis.
Yes.
Yes. So. all good.
Very nice. Very good.
Call it a day.
I was going to say we're up to 5 o'clock and my assistant's now lying on the floor crying.
She's passed out with hunger.
I'm shaking. I'm so hungry. I've never fed. So hard done by, aren't you, dude? Definitely. Right. Okay, then, guys. We will leave it right there. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Members, we're back on with you Thursday night. I'm thinking it's Wednesday for some reason, but it's not. It says so right in front of me. It says Tuesday. But we are back with you for members on Thursday night, 7:30 for the live show. If you want to see what we get up to and things like that, obviously you can join the site. You can join via Patreon or direct. All the full details on the website as always. And very good. As I say, next time I'll get on with this one and we'll get some proper weathering down onto it. Do you want to pre-warn them for our next live Saturday show?
It's going to be Coronation Street week.
Coronation Street week.
Weekend.
So not this Saturday, next Saturday. We're going to be doing a live because obviously it is our King's Coronation Street.
Yeah, so obviously we'll be doing this instead of watching.
So we're doing this instead of watching
that. Because that's how patriotic we are.
Yeah, that's it. So yes, I'll be doing an American bomber in Greek markings. Yeah. So we're on for that one. But we will be back with you next Tuesday afternoon, won't we?
Yes.
And then we'll be back on with you the following Thursday for the afternoon, because what we're going to do is rotate the Thursday show from the members to the live one during the afternoon, and they'll bounce back and forth, if that makes sense. So that's how we're going to do that one. So yes, good job. Very nice. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, you get all your bits and pieces, as always, over at the PM store. Shameless plug time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like and support.
Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe and all the rest of it. If you like what we do here and everything else, give us a thumbs up, because apparently it really helps. I don't understand how, but apparently it does. If you want to catch up to all the bits and pieces we're on, normally just pop over to the florymodels.org site. You can click in here. You can see what we've been up to so far this week. Like obviously I've been working on the next part of the dozer, which you can see down in here and everything. And obviously don't forget, all the tutorial videos are free to watch. They are all down on here. They are up on YouTube, but you know what that's like. It's a nightmare. But if you want to know anything about them, we've got all our step-by-step guides, all the bite-sized series, I should say, on modelling, which eventually it will load through. There we go. Which talks about all the painting, all the weathering and building and everything else like that. So it covers a lot of probably useful questions for you. So you can go off and see that one down there. And obviously you can have a look at the video builds we do as well, which is over 140 now of these things. So if you want to grab out and have a look at some of those, and don't forget, we've got the classic area, which are all free to watch as well. So if you want to see any of these ones, classic build down in here, they are all in there as well. There we go. Cool.
Absolutely.
Very good. Right. Okay, then. We will leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. We're out of here. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye.
We can officially go home. Bye.
Go home. Yeah.